Be off mute.
No, no, that's it says say you're using. I'm sure it's not for that. Just like it all. We're ready to go. Yeah, I just wandered, man.
Have to do it again.
Okay. Like to call to order the Cordova School District, May 13th, 2026. School board meeting. Please stand for the children. I pledge allegiance
To the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And roll call, please. Here.
Yes.
Emma Merritt. Present. Kate Trudeau. Here. Melanie Cole. Here. Adelaide Watts. Here.
All right, we have a quorum, and at this time we have a presentation regarding close 226.
Okay, so all the close-up kids are here, I think most of them anyway, so we just wanted to come and say thank you so much for letting us go on this 2-week trip to New York and DC. There were so many highlights, more than we have time to share today.
Yeah.
But hopefully you had a chance to look through the slides and get like a little sense of some of the cool things that we were able to do in New York and in DC. And so we're gonna let the kids just get up and give a personal highlight that they made them appreciate Cordova even more. And we're gonna let the seniors go first because they have a baccalaureate to get to, and then we'll have the juniors. Okay. Okay, great. We're gonna have Morgan get us started, and then the seniors can just go up. Absolutely. Go ahead.
Everybody can introduce themselves too.
Hi, and I think that this trip really made me appreciate the unique perspective that we have as Cordova students. We had the opportunity to meet a bunch of students from all over the country, and I kind of realized how lucky we are to be raised in Cordova. I think a lot of the Cordova students had an openness to diversity and like a willingness to look at all different perspectives and aspects of ideas, and I didn't see that in a lot of other students from across the country. Thank you.
I'm very Nolan, and I think the biggest thing that I took home from going on close up was appreciating Cordova, and I really appreciate the small town aspect and just how close knit of a community we have. Especially going to New York, where the city literally never sleeps. It was really nice to see how secluded and just how big on nature we are here, and I really appreciate how closed off Cordova is, because it's really nice to escape the busyness. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Harris, I think one of the most memorable moments for me on the trip was going to the National Museum of American History, because we got to see a bunch of cool props from different movies and shows I've watched. We got to see C-3PO and Star Wars props.
Hello, my name is Michelle Rod, and I really enjoyed all the architecture in New York and DC, just seeing how like they preserved the historical parts, and just seeing what like the historical figures would have seen back when they were all.
I just played daily, and my highlight from the trip was being able to see like everything in person, like all the famous buildings and stuff. Like actually being there and being able to see that instead of like seeing it on a TV show or something. So yeah, it's really cool to see.
Hi, my name is Dexter Desmond, and one highlight of my trip was going to the Met Museum. It was cool to see a lot of history just in one big building, and it was really fascinating. Thank you.
My name is Jock Bistro, and my highlight for this trip is just seeing the New York Times Square and seeing many people comparing our small town in Cordova. Thank you.
My name is Jonas Fajardo. I think the biggest highlight for me was visiting the National Mall. It was kind of cool to see all the monuments and specifically the Lincoln Memorial. And then at the same time, there was the cherry blossoms were like in full bloom. So it was really pretty to see all that. Thank you.
My name is Tim Russo, and a highlight for me was probably like visiting the Central Park and like visiting the Balto statue because it was cool to see like something related to Alaska in a different place. Thank you.
My name is Ellie Carpenter, and my highlight from the trip was seeing Times Square and the amount of people in it. It's kind of cool to see in real life, so yeah, thank you.
My name is Mark Mata. A life lesson I think we all should like learn is like Cordova is mostly like a safe place to be, but like where in New York or Pennsylvania or DC, like it's more like crowded, more like condensed. We should like be more safe, but we learn how to be stick with the group and just be safe for each other. Thank you.
Good. The highlight for me was the Met and just seeing all the cool architecture. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Willow. I think my highlight was probably the bike ride and seeing the churches. My takeaway was probably navigation skills key.
Hi, my name is Eric Ramirez, and the highlight from the trip was seeing the Empire State Building in person. I am very afraid of heights, but at that moment, being there with my friends honestly felt like it was a dream. So thank you guys for the opportunity.
My name is Roman Camados. I think one of the big things I learned is being open-minded during an event like this because a lot of people come from different backgrounds, from different places, so and being able to like hear out different people is really important because you're like you said, to your own what you call it. But you grow up in like a certain place and that says mindset. Those hearing other people kind of changes that. But like, thank you.
Hi, my name is Sugar Lawrence, and getting to go to New York and see, which are really big cities, made me really appreciate how peaceful and safe Cordova feels. And yeah, thank you. I'm Violet Simpler. I would say a highlight of the trip for me was going to the Metropolitan Museum. I just thought it was so cool seeing like all these different cultures kind of and finding connections through their art. It's really awesome. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Taylor Tiedemann, and my favorite part about Close Up was biking to Mount Vernon and Also just having quality time to spend with my friends.
Hi, I'm May, and I think my favorite part of the trip was getting to experience new the food from different cultures and getting to meet new people during so.
Okay, Adelaide needs to go, and he is sick, so I think that's the only person that.
I'm Adelaide Boats. I really enjoyed the whole trip. It was super cool seeing all the monuments. I think my biggest takeaway is just getting to see a whole new perspectives on a lot of issues where I was very opinionated on already. So just kind of keeping an open mind and hearing what everyone had to say was really cool. It was a really good learning experience.
So I think it's pretty neat that every single one of them kind of took away something different from the trip. But I guess that's what happens when you take somebody for 2 weeks or anybody for a 2-week trip. So, can't speak for Alyssa, but I think the highlight for us was just being able to spend like quality time, with some really cool, CHS juniors and seniors. So we really so appreciate you guys letting us go on this trip with. It's really meaningful for every single person involved.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just add from that time to all the conversations after whatever we did, having those, seeing them reflect and having those conversations immediately was it, we were just like, wow, you know, like everything that they were absorbing and experiencing. More than what we ever may have even thought that they would experience, so. Yeah.
Yeah, they surprise us every day. It's a really long trip and it's a lot of work, but like in real time, every single day, we could look back and be like, wow, all the hard work was worth it. Like,
Yeah, and they were a dream to travel with. Super easy. So thank you.
thank you guys.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
No, I always appreciate it. It's the funnest meeting a school board has. I just love to hear back from the students and these guys sure had some great reflections. Really appreciate the deep thoughts that they came back with from it.
I do have a comment, but none of the juniors are here, so I don't know, maybe you could pass it on, but Lisa Murkowski does an internship for a paid internship for high school graduates, so.
They're familiar. I've been trying to sell up junior.
Okay, awesome. I was,
Murkowski's office right there.
yeah, I was talking to her last weekend and she's like, you know, I'm calling all the interns again, and I'm like, we just gotta get someone else from Cordova, so it's been a while, so.
Yeah, you should maybe talk to Adelaide.
Thank you. All right, I want to note the correspondence that's in the packet for everyone to look at on their own. And at this point, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the May 13th, 2026 regular meeting agenda as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, we will have a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And that brings us to audience comments. Anybody in the audience like to make comment to the board regarding agenda items? Wait time. Seeing none, I am ready to accept a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented in the board packet.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And that brings us to reports, starting with Adelaide. Student council.
Music, I guess, just got over. School's wrapping up, so that's kind of the last big school trip activity. And regionals, the choir got second place, so we're all pretty proud of that. We're up against some pretty great schools. And state went really well. Everyone got good scores on their pieces and performed really well.
Thank you. Any questions for? I'll say congratulations. for the music. And thank you for the concert the other night for the public. That was really well received and very, very excellent. And so I thank you for you participating in that. And Mrs. Fastenal did a perfect job. Can we share that with her? Okay, thank you. Anything else? That brings us to Cordova Education Association.
Good evening. Teachers are reporting at Mount Eccles. We are deep in the year and fun activities. Kindergarten is participating in their countdown to summer where they do fun things to match the letter of the day. We got to make muffins with them for letter M. That was fun. Field trips are happening. Third graders were learning about ecosystems and nature journaling on the Haystack Trail. Today, second grade trip to learn about nursery logs and the forest environment. Their upcoming trips, such as the K1 field trip to Orca Beach, the sixth grade camp out. The end of the year is always busy with activities and very high energy right now. At CHS, is it mid-May already? Seniors are finishing the year strong. Regalia is out. The printers are stocked with the good paper. Sport awards and varsity letters were distributed last week. Mr. Ammerman's studio art classes showed their immense talent last night and will honor academic excellence tomorrow evening. Yearbooks are being signed. Everyone is stoked for graduation this Saturday. This is not my comment. Some people are getting a little teary-eyed. But sad for us, happy for them, count as happy tears, right? The track team is away for meets this weekend. The junior high team will compete in the Matsu Borough Championships, and high school athletes will be at the regional event with state qualifiers going on to compete May 28th. While graduation marks the end of the school year and the end of a chapter for seniors, CHS is already peaking at the next chapter with students selecting classes for next year and seniors excitedly sharing their plans for the future. So reports from teachers.
Thank you. Any questions for them? Thank you. All right, the classified group report.
Got my reading bag.
Used to have a basketball that sees the classes.
Good evening, school board members and Superintendent Mr. Russin. Today, my report will have highlights from this year from some of our classified staff. At Mount Eccles, Marita began the implementation of language acquisition through motor planning, also known as LAMP, for our nonverbal students. Thank you to the school district for authorizing and paying for this valuable training. Julie reported it was a pleasure to coordinate principal and teacher appreciation activities and school lunch hero days. Breda and Mary Gonzalez teamed up and found free adaptive books that were laminated and successfully used with our nonverbal students. Janice has been working with Mount Eccles principal, Ms. Gonzalez, to repair, paint, or possibly replace basketball hoops at the Mount Eccles playground. Ray Mark and other paras worked together with Ms. Kleisler's support to prepare the pre-K students for kindergarten. He also reported that we had success in using a supplemental math program that was used for gifted students, and we hope to use it in the future. Paola reported that through Migrant Ed funds, we were able to put books into students' hands and homes. We are now coordinating for with Mount Eccles to teach students during the extended school year and summer school. CEG is looking ahead to the next year. We will continue membership outreach over the summer and into next year. Our efforts are having a positive impact in the workplace with students, and our classified staff morale is very good. ESP Professional Growth Opportunities through NEA Alaska. We have 2 members that were accepted on an Alaska team for a peer mentoring education support professionals, ESPs. And this would be implemented, this would implement a mentorship program locally, which in other states and throughout Alaska has been proven to boost recruiting and retention rates among ESPs and grow leadership skills. And that'll be July through October. President's leadership training is in September. Treasurer's training is in October. Any questions or clarifications?
ESP?
Education support professionals,
Okay, excellent.
Paris,
Nice, gotcha. Thank you. And somebody's running for office?
office?
Are they running for an office in that organization?
Oh,
Mentorship.
not yet.
Not yet, okay.
No, we're doing mentorships, so we were asked to apply and were accepted just yesterday. So we just found out yesterday that 2 of us are accepted into a mentorship program that'll go all summer long. It'll be 9 sessions total.
Nice.
Starting in June.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your time.
All right, committee reports, AASB.
Let's see, well, there's some transitions going on at AASB. Lon is retiring at the 1st of June. Tiffany Jackson, has been, the board of directors, hired her to be the new executive director. Tiffany's a buddy. We both sat on NSBA together, traveled together a lot. She knows the organization inside and out. She was a finance director. So it'll be a great, easy transition. A couple other, Norm, I think, is retiring, as Steve Nelson, who writes the commentary as well. A few little transitions at ASB. The other aspect is the legislation, there is some funding in pieces. I don't know, some of the bills aren't moving too fast, but there was funding between the House and the Senate, so they're getting together and forming a conference committee to come up with funding. And there's talk of a 600 or 630 type of increase. I don't know, 158 million. The only darn thing is, in 8 years with this particular governor, there's been no funding, and it's only come from overriding. There was an interesting bill that was put forth by the House and the Senate on election procedures. Had been 10 years in the process of making it. Dunleavy vetoed it. And they tried to override it, and it didn't even come close. So it'll be interesting to see. And I don't know, it's so darn weird these days. We used to know what our education funding would be 3 years in advance, way back in the day. But we're coming down, everybody's submitting their budgets. We still really don't know. Of course, the legislature says, well, you know what you got, because it's what you got last year. But is potential, but it's just, so I don't know how much hope there is for that one. I mean, it's a possibility. Outside of that, that's about all that's going on right at the moment. We did do the June Nelson Memorial Scholarship, selected 15 winners. It was tough competition. There was a couple of Cordova candidates, but there's 120 different applications. So but only 13 first-year college students were selected at this point. So
Could we give I think last year they said the names of the winners.
yeah, I got it. And they're from other districts. Yeah, I have them.
I'm just curious if any of the people that I ranked.
Oh, right.
Received
It is so funny.
See if I'm wasting my time or not.
Right. You develop such ownership when you're.
I know you do.
Let me know, Hank, and I'll send you the list.
Okay.
Just text me if I forget.
Okay. And Pete did have an article in recently. Hope everyone had a chance to read that. came to us in an email
Right.
from ASB, well written.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Yeah, there's lots of resources on the ASB website. And if anybody ever has any problems finding them or want more information, just reach out to me. That's what I do these days and field pretty humorous questions every now and then across the day. I mean, it's a tough gig out there these days. Communities are yelling at school boards and school boards can't do anything because of the funding and schools are closing and it's just, and they need to turn to the legislature because they're creating such chaos. But if that was the intent, unfortunately so. But Cordova is a wonderful community here. We're just really blessed with what we do have. And folks don't necessarily see all of the cuts that we have to make and the hard work that Alex has to do and cutting in areas. So, but anytime anybody needs anything, reach out and I can point you in directions.
High school site council.
Yeah, we met a couple weeks ago, I think, and we talked about the teen mental health class. It might be actually called something different, but that's essentially what it is for, I think, juniors or seniors. Anyway, one grade is one of those upper grades is one they'll take it. Miss Hottinger did the training on that through, I think, the UA system. And it looks really good and really robust. It looks like very good materials. So I'm actually not sure if that comes through to us as curriculum or how, but it's in place or it will be in place and it looks like a really excellent program. So looking forward to even just like getting some more feedback on that from staff and from the students when they've completed that. And then they also talked about some different budget scenarios and how different budget scenarios would affect the staffing levels and course offerings at CHS. And it was one of a very well-attended meeting. There's a lot of parents, there's also a lot of staff. So there's just a lot of people there. Milani, do you want to add anything as an alternate?
I mean, I think you mostly said it. Yeah, I was very excited to see the emotional first aid course. I thought that would be really neat to even incorporate maybe even earlier in sort of the junior high school career at some point. But yeah, and it was really interesting. Mr. Tancreed had a great sort of like, these are our different scenarios depending on how our budget ends up looking. So that was helpful.
Thank you. Elementary site council.
Ms. Gonzalez explained the difference between letter grades and standards-based grading and explained why the elementary school uses standards-based grading. And we talked a little bit about whether or not honor society would be appropriate for the 5th and 6th graders and how that fits in developmentally.
No conclusions.
I think the conclusions are in her report, but mostly it seems like I think everybody that was at the meeting maybe had different feelings about it leaving, but the teachers I think are pretty conclusive that honor society can wait until junior high.
Okay, thank you. Safety and facilities.
Yeah, we had a meeting on the 14th of March and we discussed the outbuilding there needs to be demoed. And the administration was looking at a couple of different quotes on that. We also spoke about the Taylor fire inspection reports for both buildings. Then we did speak about the fire alarm panel at Mount Eccles and how it needs replacing, and that is in the board packet this evening.
Anything to add?
No, that was it.
Okay, thank you. Curriculum committee, we did not have one, correct? Yep. Policy committee, we did not have one. Start up with that again, probably when we have in the fall.
There are a couple of lingering policies that I'm working on right now. Maybe we have one pending people's schedules before the end of the year.
And negotiation committee. Well, we finished. negotiations.
Right, yes.
And the outcome of that will be determined tonight. Yeah. Exciting. Administrative reports. I see Seth is not with us, but his report is in the packet. So we'll move on to Principal Gonzalez.
Forgive the muddy attire, I just came from the 6th grade camp out. I included all of the things that happened in May in my report. I missed 2 that I'll add to June that I realized after I posted it because it was such a busy month. I keep a running list at all times. And yeah, it's been a busy end of the school year. Any questions for me?
Are you going back to the camp out is the question.
Not tonight, but at 6:30 tomorrow morning, I will be jumping back in the van to go pick everybody up. They had enough female chaperones in the tent. The girls ended up at the tent and the boys got the cabin.
How's that?
Yeah, there was a game involved in that. One very chivalrous boy did say that they should give girls first choice. And all the rest of the boys vetoed it. But yeah, it was a fun day, scavenger hunt and all the things, so I will be there at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and
Oh, you said 6:30.
I have to leave here at 6:30.
Oh.
And there may be a coffee involved.
You'll be there by 9. Is that
Have to be there because they have to be back at school by just after 8 to pick up the next group and take them out.
Oh.
There's a whole shuffle because they couldn't fit all of our 6th graders at once out at the camp. So, yeah,
Very nice.
yeah.
Any questions?
I have some comments and some questions. I just like love seeing math night because that was like when I fell in love with our Mount Echols Elementary School and like being involved. And so I wasn't able to attend this month's math night, but I would love to be able to help again. And I just think it was such a great thing when the first one that I went to.
Well, and I would love to show you some of the resources I found.
Oh, cool.
With some of the grants that we got. We're getting better and better at it.
Yeah, awesome.
And it was a conflict with 2 other game nights in town, which I did not know when I scheduled it, so sorry about that, 'cause I know you were involved with one.
Yeah, I think, I mean, maybe it's me, but maybe it's just people who have like a lot of different kids, a lot of kids or involvements, but I feel like I have to make my calendar goes out pretty far now for me to get things in. I thought that the art show, whoever's idea that was like brilliant, and I loved seeing the students' art, and also I guess on art related, I've seen the high school art as well in the newsletter, and I think you're putting it in the Wolverine way, and I've never seen the kids art before. And so anyway, I just thought that was awesome now that the community gets to see it too. And the kids, like all the kids that were there were like so excited, like I'm a real artist with their stuff on display. So I thought that was genius. I can't believe we didn't think of that before.
I guess we've done it before. It's all Paula Payne.
Oh, very good.
They reached out to me and I forwarded it to the teachers and they took the reins.
They knocked it out of
an
the park.
amazing partnership.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then let's see, my comment on, I just looked at your, the professional development opportunity and you kind of like laid out here. And I guess in general, for me as a school board member, like what you just provided there was just so valuable to see like where the instruction go, like tier 1 and your goals for tier 1, and then all these additional things like that really puts everything in the right spot or in the right category for me to think about how we approach instruction and the different things. So I don't know, kind of hoping for like a little bit more on that, but I know this is kind of an end of the year wrap up, but that kind of information I think is really important for the board. We need to be talking about education and how we're approaching it and what we're doing, and the staff development is the like biggest component of that, is making sure that our teachers who are doing the educating are prepared and we've given them the right resources. And so anyway, did you have anything else to add on those?
So I went with a team and we attended the CLSD grant meeting for a full day. And then it followed up with the 3 days reading symposium.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of a summary of what the goals are of the state and kind of in relation to what we're highlighting as a district. They're pretty surface level, because we still need to dig into a lot of that information ourselves moving forward. So that's a really basic plan and, yeah, it just kind of is the direction that we're headed.
I just kind of have it in my mind that we're ahead of the curve from where the state wants to be because of the reading curriculum that we implemented in early, for the early years. And then also, I think I remember we had our teachers kind of like trained before it was even mandated. Do you kind of, is that a wild assumption to have, or are you kind of seeing that as well, or?
I think we're in sync with a lot of other districts, especially the bigger ones, which is great for a smaller community. Huge partnership, shout out to Jason over there too, because I think the CLSD grant has really helped us move our plan and progress forward as well. So, and having that funding and that ability to implement some of those things. And it's something that we're gonna have to fine tune every year because we're still figuring out what works and what doesn't work, but
Yeah.
we're moving in the right direction. So I don't know that ahead is necessarily where we're at, but I think we're right on track with where we need to be. Good stuff.
Anybody else? Thought the art show was really fun.
Did you go?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I did see you there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the museum, of course. And also the little plays.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, going and watching. Did you have Elvis?
No,
Is that yours?
I had the lion. Fearsome feline.
It's so much fun. Every kid feels so important in those because they all have a role to play that's showcase. So that was a lot of fun. And then I'll echo what you said about the professional development. I appreciate seeing that. It's really exciting to see the statement that tier 1 is where it's all at, because we know that if we have more than 15-20% of our kids in tier 2, tier 3, it's not manageable. So tier 1 instruction being at its absolute best prevents us from having too many tier 2, tier 3 kids. So thank you for that. Yeah.
I guess I have one more thing to add. There's a lot of pages. On that site council meeting, we didn't have a chance to talk about it during the meeting, but you had some really good examples. You said like a lot of schools don't do away with honor roll completely. They like incorporate kind of academic components into what they recognize. So instead of just saying, X number of students get honor roll, you had some examples like most improved in math or perseverance award in a certain subject. Did your staff ever discuss anything like that?
Well, we already do a lot of that. So that is included not only in student of the quarter, but when we're recognizing core 4 awards for all the things that, we recognize, those things are incorporated and taken into account. So perseverance is something that is figured in to those awards as well. So, our staff did discuss that we used to recognize, instead of the same 4 core 4 awards throughout the year and then the all core 4 at the end of the year, we did used to recognize 10 different pieces, and we are debating whether or not that was a better way to recognize more students. But I feel like teachers with this model are able to recognize 3, 4, and 5 sometimes students for a particular core 4 character trait, rather than just 1 for each. So I feel like we're reaching more students that way, but that is included. And so we did not talk about adding additional awards at this time.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Tancred.
Good evening. I think I'll just highlight a couple of things tonight. We were able last month to do the CTEPS Health Sciences course, which allowed 12 of our students to accrue 0.5 high school credit and 2 college credits over 5 days, and get sort of immersed in the health sciences field. We've got a couple more programs with them lined up for next year as well. We also held our culture days in conjunction with NVE, and we're able to offer one afternoon and one morning of events for students, including traditional bead making and NYO and a traditional foods and subsistence mini session. Miss Moody, of course, already covered the close-up trip. I think also I'd like to highlight the Aurora Music Fest, where we had 6 of our students who were recognized at regionals and receiving first chairs or community performances. I'd also like to recognize our track and field team, which is now 35 strong, and we're doing all the events that the big schools are doing, and we're doing okay. But a big shout out to Lance Westing for getting that going. And then the last piece was last month you all asked about maybe some data regarding the effectiveness of the cell phone policies. So I polled staff with a couple of simple questions. First question was, do you allow students to use cell phones in your classroom? Half the teachers said yes, half the teachers said no. That doesn't equate to half the classes, and half do and don't, because each teacher teaches six courses. So it's more classes than not don't allow cell phones, but if you look at it just on numbers of teachers, half are allowing them, half aren't. Asked the question about are cell phones a distraction in your classroom. 20% of teachers said never, 60% said rarely, 10% said sometimes, and 10% or one teacher said often. And then finally, we asked, do you find the policy effective? 70% said yes, 10% said most of the time, and then 20% or 2 teachers said no. But you'll know if there's an asterisk. One of the teachers that said no had the caveat of, if you're asking, is there never a problem with a cell phone? Then no, it's not effective. But if the question was, does it greatly reduce the distractions? Then the answer was yes. So if you look at this, depending on how you interpret that teacher, the asterisk, about 90% of teachers find the policy effective. And lastly, we had site council last month. Went through some scenarios on what the possible class offerings could look like based upon the incoming number of 7th graders and the number of teachers available to offer courses. Next we had a pretty big turnout, about 14 parents and staff. And our next site council will sort of be a part 2 of that. That will be dependent upon what your decision is tonight about hires. What questions do you have for me?
Do we have a javelin?
We don't have javelin, but nobody. Have you seen those videos of guys who they're fielding the javelin and they get stuck with the javelin? Right. No one in Alaska is doing the javelin right now.
Okay, how nobody is?
No,
They do make it up, the alternate javelin. No, it's true. Also children, it's got a blunt end.
I prefer not to be hit by the alternate javelin either. Yes.
For the culture days and then the medical training, how does that work with the student schedule? Do they get pulled out of class for that?
So the culture days is all school.
All school, so you wouldn't have certain classes.
Everyone had all their classes. We simply had shortened class periods, and then we had culture day periods.
Gotcha.
And that was on a Thursday, and then Friday was an optional. So you could either attend what you normally would attend on a Friday, or you could attend the cultural. And I think we had about 70 students attending cultural.
And then the medical one?
Medical one was pulled.
Okay.
Yep. But it was only for 2 days, because then the other 2 were over the weekend.
Yeah. I appreciate that you pulled the staff, because I know that was something that I personally asked for. I don't know if the board was interested in that. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more student centric, we saw because you mentioned a couple of different things, we saw minimize distractions. I was looking at kind of what the effects that you've noticed on it. You mentioned a really great one the last time. We noticed that what was it, like, almost like tics? It wasn't tics, but it was
Anxious behavior.
anxious behaviors, you know, like they were constantly checking and they noticed that like mellow out. So I'm not like super, how many people voted, you know, how like super,
Sure.
5 teachers did see this, but only 1 person saw something, just anecdotal. Cause when I read a lot of articles about cell phones, I'm trying to see how that fits in what we've already done. What are we noticing the same things? Are we noticing something completely different? I'm just trying to see what the impact has been for our students from an administrator or
So if we're gonna talk about the student's perception of impact, I guess I'd be more interested in doing a beginning of the year survey and an end of the year survey and having a year's worth of time. I don't think we've got the capacity to ask students this school year.
yeah, well, like again, I think it's getting a little bit missed, but in general, as a board, we should be considering what the impact of the decisions that sometimes we make or we don't make have on our students. And so like very basic anecdotal, like most teachers have noticed that kids are talking, you've mentioned talking more at lunch, right? They're playing games now. Things like that. I feel like those are the kinds of things that I would like to like have, I guess I want to know if there's anything else. We've heard some, but kind of an evaluation of, yeah, this is why we're still doing it because we continued it. So I would kind of like to know what that, so that's all. You have given us a lot of information on there.
I guess in regard to that, I'd encourage the board then to think about what's your end goal for cell phone and and social media management, right? Like, what do you want to see students be able to do or not do or be free from if we're gonna start polling kids, right? You know, I think you'd find that your older students might be able to notice a name that had less anxious. I'm not certain that your 7th or 8th grade or even 9th grade students would be able to notice a name that behavior per se, even if it's noticeable by adults, right? I guess I would think about what's the goal, right? Like what would a policy, what would be the results of a policy? And then maybe look at polling from there, would be my guidance.
If we can just exchange one at a time, I need I like having that kind of transparent information about what you've already observed. I don't know what the end goal is, but I'd like to know what we're doing and what we've seen from it. So that's kind of like why I'm particularly wanting to see, like, does it even make sense to go to 10th grade or not? Like, it might not make sense even to go to 10th grade. It might make sense to just keep it at 7th grade. So I don't know I don't think we kind of just need information. It is like, we might not know what there might not be a policy that comes from it either.
Sure.
Even. So just the information on what our schools are currently observing. It's a really big topic. A lot of people are dealing with it a lot of different ways.
Sure. I think one thing you can probably reasonably assure is that administration, being me, I would put forth the idea of restrictions on cell phones if I didn't see a reason for it or see a positive result from it, right? So if you're asking, you know, do we really need the cell phone or the restrictions in 10th grade? We will, based upon the students who will be there at when that restriction is planned, we will. I think that already the anecdotal pieces that I have shared indicate the reasons for that, right? But again, if we can align a goal with what we're looking for as far as data, we can probably find a way to find that data.
So give us an opportunity as a board to think about this individually and to see what kind of things we're really curious about knowing. And then we'll make it a pending agenda item and discuss it at a later date. So we appreciate the work you've been doing with this. And we do remember that you came in and told us that teacher had said they saw a noticeable difference in the behavior of the kids during their free time and in class. And so I appreciate that. Any other questions
Yes, I have questions about next steps for CTEPs.
Okay.
I was wondering the course that's taking place in Anchorage that's being funded by the Perkins grant.
Yes.
is that the like general pot of money that the school has for all of the career and technical education, or is that like a separate money coming from UAA to help fund
No,
this?
so that's coming from the Perkins grant, which is a state grant, aligned
That's like-
with CTE spending. Yep.
Okay, and then my other question was just curiosity, but I wasn't sure if there were next steps for the students that complete this program, like do they have internship or volunteer opportunities at Alanka or CCMC?
So really the next steps are participating in that next available course. You know, there may be opportunities in the future to align other courses through Prince William Sound with it. For example, we're in the process now of developing a potential fire science class that would align with the Explorers program of the fire department. Or Mr. Russ and I have had a couple discussions about what micro credentials might look like. And so that we could possibly find ourselves in a few years looking at, how does a student earn, 0.5 of the credit or 0.3 of the credit for doing a short duration of high intensity work towards a specified content.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? I had one question, and were all the Fridays in April mandatory at this point?
Yeah, and I see what you're getting at. You're asking about the up and down in attendance.
Yeah,
That's-
that's 7th and 11th graders on that. Yeah.
So you're looking at track and you're looking at close-up.
Thank you. Enough. Thank you. Okay, any other questions?
Thank you.
You knew I was gonna ask you that.
I almost thought about putting that in there and I thought, I wonder what they'll ask it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and that brings us to Annie, is that correct? Business office? Pardon me?
Oh, food service and then Jason Bassett.
Oh, there's mine's eye. Oh, I just skipped up that. Mr. Fastenal, excuse me.
Good evening. So it's a very paperwork heavy time of year, doing a lot of grant development, project development. The title grants are pretty big right now. There's some information in the board packet about our plans for that. Not looking at anything substantially new other than a math intervention at CHS. Which I think actually it's looking like it's going to be district wide using a AI-based tool. Additionally, I've been working with a lot of vendors to try and lock in some pricing. Everything in the tech world is going up pretty quickly at the moment. So I wanted to lock in our current pricing. Most vendors have been willing to cooperate on that pretty well. If they already had a schedule for price increase, they gave us a flat discount for that. If they didn't, they allowed us to lock in the current year's pricing for multiple years. There were some I decided not to pursue. Adobe, for example, if you do a multi-year, you have to completely rebuild your database every time you renew. And that is not a big enough cost for me to go through that process. Are there any questions about the items I have in the packet?
No, I think you have some action items in the packet or some grant stuff. Anyway, I always appreciate you have a summary to like refresh us on those budget items and what they are, it's the acronyms and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris.
Hello. Don't have anything to add. I just wanted to touch on the piece about the plumbing issues we're having here. Little update on that. I'm working with the water and sewer department to come up with a plan on a long-term fix. That pipe down in the auto shop restrooms has backed up and clogged, I think 3 times now this year. Last time they pumped it out, snaked it, and it wasn't more than like 2 weeks before it was backing up again. So it seems like for whatever reason, it's flowing the wrong direction. And where that pipe exits the building, it's really deep under where they usually pile the snow. Out that way. And so I'm gonna have to work with water and sewer to dig up that pipe this summer and do a little bit more investigation into what's causing the backup so that we're not having to call them their Vector truck and snaking tools every couple weeks to deal with that. So for the time being, we've just closed those couple restrooms per use, which just means students for the next week will have to take a longer hike down the hall to use the restroom during class. But hopefully we'll be able to work well with the city on getting that accomplished and find a resolution that's permanent, I hope.
And that would be a city cost because they own the building and it's a major undertaking. Oh, I'm getting smiles. Never mind.
There's conversation about whose responsibility it is currently.
Okay.
The city code says that anything over $5,000 is a city expense related to the buildings. I think the question is whether or not the sewer line falls under the district's responsibility to maintain, even though it's outside of the building.
Ongoing
discussions.
Thank you.
Any other questions for me?
So, sorry.
Yeah.
Just me, look sorry.
Yeah.
And Miss Linville.
Right there. Nothing much other than the usual budget and fun stuff. Sheets.
Is that you're starting the NIMBY this year or did you start last year?
Yeah.
What's
I
that?
just finished the first
Year. Oh, okay.
and it's actually, they just changed the name of it. And it's AMBI now, and I cannot tell you what that stands for. So I don't remember. But it's great. It's been really informative, and it's just really nice to have kind of a forward support. We had a meeting today, and since we're done with all of our stuff for the year, it was just kind of a discussion of where it's nice.
Do other people use the Alio system?
We are one of two left in the state. Both of us are struggling. But we still have a couple more years on our contract, so it's, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
The contract service agreements, I see the amount approved and the amount billed year to date, I mean, are substantially different. Are we just behind? Not behind, that's the wrong word. Does the billing just delay? Or are we anticipating that not all these amounts approved will be met?
I think it kind of depends on like Summit. We just had a couple bills come in and she was just here. So I think that one will probably come up. The others, I think it's just we budgeted for so much. And this is what's come in so far. I know.
Are you anticipating any cost savings in either that
It's a hard
Florence
question.
or Tiny?
It's a hard one for me to answer just because I'm not the one that's administrating those, you know, like I'm just
Sure.
getting the invoices when they come in and reporting them here, obviously. And I know I saw that Summit come in. And we help her book travel. So I know she was here recently, but the others, yeah.
Yeah, oftentimes the billing for service providers is delayed, sometimes months at a time. And those particular contracts we pay for with title funds. So it's not necessarily a cost savings to the general fund for the district. They would be monies that, for are either left over in the title, some of the title grants, the 6B and section 619 of the special education grant. You know, over the past probably 10 years, those grants have been reduced by about 30% so there's oftentimes not a whole lot left over, if any. But we can use reappropriate any funds that are left in those for.
So they will roll over. Title funds.
Not the 6B grant, but some of the other title grants, the 1A, 1C roll over into what's called a REAP or EAP fund that can then be used in future years. Usually it's a 2-year limit.
So like
up the remainder of those
services. Okay, thank you.
Just whipping out those titles. Funds.
And I just nod like I knew. All right, thank you, Annie. And any other questions? Nope. Superintendent's report.
My next to the last report.
You're next to the last report.
Yeah. Well, it might be my last report. I'm sure I'm going to write one.
What are we gonna do? Fire you?
But as I was kind of looking it over, you know, the last page, I guess, or page and a half, are some of the reports that I'm working on. And it sort of harkened a question that I sometimes get asked by kids and adults, like, what does a superintendent do? And at this time of year, a lot of my time is spent on finishing year-end reports. But not only that, you know, working with the team, the admin team, to prep for next year's grants in particular. And as part of those grants, you know, in education, a term that's often put out is accountability. You know, there's a question sometimes of, well, school districts aren't accountable for the resources that they receive. So one of my roles as the superintendent is to read more than 200 federal laws and assurances that I am committing the district to adhering to the law on. So that takes a little bit of time. So what does the superintendent do? In part, they read the law and they have to understand the law and they have to be accountable to fulfilling the obligations of the resources that we receive. And so that happens throughout the year in lots of ways, but particularly as we start the year and end the year, there's a lot of assurances that people are asking the district to provide, and my signature is on those assurances. So it does take a lot of bit of time, and it's heavy reading at times, even though you read the same things year after year. The details of federal law are sometimes complex, and it takes a lot of time to get through those things. But with that, happy to take any questions.
I have a question. At our last meeting or a couple meetings ago, we talked a little bit about like being a certified employee, certificated group, and I was just wondering, because we do have some action items coming up later about how obtaining a certificate, but being employed as a teacher, how does that work in the state of Alaska? And particularly, how is the school prepared to handle that?
Yeah, so I guess to answer your question, the state of Alaska allows for what's called a program enrollment certificate. So individuals who are enrolled in teaching programs may apply for a program enrollment certificate. And then one of the things that the district has to do is to sign a list of about 30 assurances that that particular person is going to be supported and mentored and have the support needed to fulfill the roles and responsibilities of a teacher. And so we are well prepared to support people that way. In my time here, I think we've had 8 teachers or people who were not teachers initially and have worked through their programs or have changed careers to get into the teaching field. So we're well equipped to be able to hire individuals who are in their programs and support them through the attainment of their professional teaching certificates.
What's the minimum educational background they have to be qualified to enroll in that program? Or you have to have
You have to
AA
have a
or-
bachelor's. You have to have at least the bachelor's there.
Good. Any other questions for superintendent? Doesn't look like it. Financials. Any questions on financials? Yes.
I have a question. I'm looking at page 78. And I was just wondering how we can have negative revenue. Item 272.
It's a coding issue that I need to address. It should go to a different place and I don't know, it's something, I'm gonna call it an Alio fund I'm having.
I
So,
was like, I know I don't understand, but
yeah,
I
no,
was like, this
it's
seems extra
it's
weird.
not great, but we're working on it. So, yeah. It was an early mistake by me that is
Lingered.
lingered.
Any other questions?
And in the board packet later, but also it's right now in that capital budget, we're gonna, we have some action items to approve some work. And Mr. Russin, you'd said that we would probably like take it out of some of these, capital, but is that's correct? And-
Yeah, yes.
And have you identified which ones or?
I don't know right off the top of my head, but there are ones that are identified as district maintenance
Like
projects.
yeah. And Annie, the capital projects fund, that is a cash basis, right? If we
Yes.
actually have that cash
Yes.
set aside for it.
Yes.
It's.
Okay, thank you, Annie. That was easy.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to get a motion to go into executive session. For the audience, you're going to be asked to leave if we go into executive session. We don't anticipate being in executive session more than 5-10 minutes. If it looks like it's going to be significantly longer, we'll let people know. We can do that. Okay, I need a motion.
Move to approve, or move that the board go into executive session to discuss matters that the immediate knowledge of which would clearly have an adverse effect on the finances of the school district.
Second.
We do a vote on that, right?
Yes.
Well, okay, a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion passes and we will go into executive session.